So here's 10 free composing resources that I used to win several awards and residencies while I was a undergrad music composition student. This first resource is called Open Music Theory. It's a completely free online music theory textbook that has so much to offer for being completely free. I've only discovered this textbook recently. It's completely online and it has no barriers to entry, no signups or no paying anything. It's a fairly new resource and it contains a ton of inclusive examples from underrepresented composers, which I love. The next resource is musictheory.net. Many of you may be familiar with this website, but it is a very simple tool for practicing chord identification, interval practice, as well as ear training exercises. There's a ton more on the website, but I had to include this because I use this website a ton in high school actually to prepare for AP music theory exams. But if you're in a basic music theory or ear training class, this is a great website to practice outside of the classroom. The next resource is called Young Composers Forum. I use this website extensively when I was first starting out. I shared a lot of my first pieces on here, got a lot of feedback from the community members, and the best part about this website is it's for beginning composers. I found this forum to be very useful but also extremely welcoming when I was first starting out on my journey. The next is Arnold Schoenberg's Fundamentals of Music Composition. This seminal music composition text has great information on constructing musical themes, analyzing classical forms, and more. And this is another resource that I found surprisingly late into the game. This one covers a lot of the basics of musical craft and fundamentals, really. It's in the name. I think it's super insightful to be able to read an educational resource from one of these prolific composers. From this point on, this list is going to get even more spicy, so keep on watching. The next resource is one of my favorites. It's called composersite.com. And as of now, the site doesn't look like it's operating. It's kind of a sketch website, but hopefully it's back up. I'll still link it down below. But this is a huge resource for all of these composing opportunities, contests, residencies, and more. It also includes workshops, both in person and virtual, and all sorts of wonderful composing related opportunities that are happening all around the world. And really for me, this is kind of my go-to resource for finding these opportunities if I want to apply to anything. In a similar way, the American Composers Forum has another opportunities page on their website, which is a little bit more curated, has less on there, but very high quality opportunities that they post there pretty frequently. And by applying to a ton of these opportunities in my first few years of music school, I actually won a half dozen awards and even a composer in residence position just from the opportunities I found on this website. So I'd say a great return on investment considering that it's free. If you're enjoying this list so far, you might want to check out my weekly email newsletter where I share resources like this all the time. The next resource is IMSLP, which is a fantastic resource for not only composers but musicians of all kinds. This is a completely free database of thousands, maybe even millions of sheet music and recordings that are public domain. This is the resource that I choose when I want to download scores from the masters to score study to. This next resource I only discovered in music school because of my composition teacher. It's called The Exciting Universe of Music Theory by Ian Ring. I really don't know how to describe this resource, but it has thousands and thousands of different non-traditional scales. And I've used this resource so many times when I had composer's block and I needed melodic material or pitch material for a new piece. And you can use the scale finder on there or just choose any of the 12 notes to create a funky scale. And there's a ton of information on many of these thousands of scales that you can just delve in for hours. I actually use this website to write one of my own pieces called Lullaby in Venus, and it uses one of the funkiest scales that I could find on there. This next resource is The Orchestra, a User's Manual by Andrew Hugill. This is a great, quick, online orchestration manual that I've used dozens of times when I didn't have my clunky Samuel Adler's textbook laying around. It has a lot of comprehensive information as well as recordings of different sounds of the instruments of the orchestra, different ranges, comfortable tessituras, and extended techniques. I think this is an excellent resource for people who are just starting out on their orchestration journey, or if they're writing for a brand new instrument and they just need some guidance on what's possible on that instrument. The next resource is the Composers subreddit, which has so much information and discussions on the world of composing. You can submit your pieces for feedback on there. There are dozens of interviews from composers who are in the middle of their careers, lots of links to different resources that I couldn't include in this video. I recently went on a huge rabbit hole on their resources page because there's these great interviews with composers who are in their career with their PhDs, and as I go into my master's degree, it just gives me some good guidance on what my career is going to look like. And some of my favorite free resources and tips on composing are found on YouTube, and I actually created a video of my top favorite YouTube channels that you can check out right here. See you there.